back to the hook for round 3. We're going to talk about our hot topic of the week. Now, usually here's where me and Paul get to debate about a very whatever topic it is. But this week, we're in agreement about what this topic is about because we're really excited about some of the news that's happened on the business side of boxing. So we're going to talk about Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao and their potential fight coming up here in the next 4 or 5 months. And also the deal that happened with Al Haymon and NBC as we're going to have the opportunity to have primetime boxing on our favorite channel, NBC. Paul, let's get it going.
Let's do it. All right, so we're going to kick things off with, the golden match, the fight, and it's Manny Pacquiao against Floyd Mayweather. TMZ last night reported around 6 p.m. that finally, oh my gosh, some sources say that both parties have agreed to an actual contract. Of course, later on, if you go to scroll a little bit lower, you find out that they actually haven't signed the papers yet. So, I'm happy, I'm excited. I think given what we know about the two meeting after they met at the Heat game recently, they met up at Manny Pacquiao's Miami hotel room and they hammered out a lot of the details. I'm encouraged. Am I going to go buy some tickets yet? Probably not. A, because hopefully we're going to be getting some credentials for the Sports Fan Journal.
Praise God.
B, I also don't want to throw away the money. But if you're smart and you're trying to make a little money on the side, it would be pretty good. Well, actually, you can't make money off of buying flights early because they don't let you change those tickets anymore.
No.
Okay, so you're not going to make any money that way. But you could save yourself a hell of a lot of money by buying your tickets early right now for that weekend and the hotel rooms and all that stuff because it looks like that fight's going to happen. And if it does, and I want to see Eddie's reaction to this, I think it is the biggest sporting event in a generation. Across all sports, no other sporting event has garnered the same amount of attention from so many different people, so many different social classes, and has a sense, skewed or not, we can talk about that later, of significance as this fight. Agree or disagree?
I will play the middle. I don't know. What you're talking about is the equivalent of the Olympics here in the United States, 1996 Olympics. You're talking about the World Cup. You're talking about any of the great Super Bowls that we've ever had here in this fine country, things of that nature. But regardless, we are talking about one of the most substantial fights in boxing history, period. Is it 10 years too late? 5 years too late? Probably. Is it still weighed down in political BS? Absolutely. When it comes on television, am I going to be in front of my Hashitashi 50-inch watching it? Shout out to Martin. Will I be watching it? Absolutely. There's no need right now to go into the schematics and strategy and what's going to happen when those two people fight against each other. We could care less. We want to see the fight. We want to make it happen. Shout out to Floyd. Shout out to Manny. Shout out to whatever hotel put them in a room so that they could chop it up, talk it out, and do all the things that they need to do. And like you said earlier, I don't want. I'm going to steal your thunder because that's what I'm doing. I'm a thief. I steal things. I pilfer. When Floyd Mayweather's tweeting about it, putting it on Instagram, when we see Manny Pacquiao sipping Hennessy, enjoying the moment that it is.
White rabbit.
Yes, the white rabbit, chasing the white rabbit, then we will know that the fight is on. Now, tidbit, look forward to be announced on Super Bowl Sunday, which will be tomorrow. So if we get this video up in time, you'll get the heads up on when it's coming out. So that's what it is. Now look, here's the side note of Floyd and Manny, is that Al Haymon, the godfather, the man that waves his hand and makes action happen. Yes, Geppetto, right? He signed off with NBC, and he's making big things happen for every fighter pretty much not named Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. Paul, give him the details.
He's changing the landscape of an entire sport. I think for people who watch baseball and basketball and football, it's kind of hard to understand and appreciate just how important one businessman can be to a sport and how much they can radically change the whole landscape and the financials behind it.
Right.
What Al Haymon is doing isn't what other people in the past have done, which is just, I'm going to try to get, $3 million for my fighters from HBO. I'm going to take that offer across the way, be like, yo, Showtime, I'm getting $3 million. What can you do better? Can you give me some more comp tickets, blah, 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 whatever, right? And then the deal is just a fight between two super networks. That's not what he's doing. He wants to amplify the entire business of boxing. Shout out to Steve Kim. He broke it down brilliantly over at UCN Live. And basically what the man is saying is that he's trying to grow the fan base, and the way to do that is by taking a $20 million bet, because that's what it is. Heyman's not betting with his own money because he's brilliant.
Yeah.
He's getting some venture capital folks to back him. He's using a lot of his marketing people that he knows is going to come over, and they're going to be buying up all those spots in between the rounds, lining up the ring with whatever, Tecate, Corona, whatever it's going to be.
All the stuff you drink. Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yes.
Right? And so that's what he's using to pay for the $20 million worth of airtime he's buying from NBC.
Yes.
All in the hope of what? Trying to catch the casual viewer, getting their, new eyeballs, different demographics to watch the sport. And this is the underlying current. And think about this. $100 million is what is estimated to have been paid by Fox over to the UFC for their deal, right? Huge money. So the UFC is getting paid for that. Haymon is paying NBC for his time. What happens if, and this is the thing that I think is going to surprise people, like what happens if, the Danny Garcia-Lamont Peterson fight that's going to be on NBC a little bit later, and Adrian Broner-Molina do numbers at the same level or better than any of the UFC averages? What that just implicitly said is that boxing is worth at least $100 million.
Yes, and the reality is that, look, you're taking boxing programming from something that was very monopolistic, only really catered to by Showtime and HBO. And you have new sports networks like CBS Sports, ESPN 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, NBC Sports Network, and they all need programming. So for a really low amount of funds, Al Haymon's basically brought probably how many fights? 10, 15, 20 weekends of fights.
So yes, 20
to the calendar, right? And we get to have that at no cost to us, the cable viewer, as long as you have anything other than basic cable, right? So that's great. That is awesome. That is, as a fight fan, we're winning. And we want Al Haymon to succeed, and we want him to win in this fashion. Now, how the programming looks, how consistent will it be, nobody knows. But as long as this works for us and fight fans are happy, we all win.
But the fights that we know about right now have to be encouraging to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Lamont Peterson, Danny Garcia. John Molina versus Adrian Broner.
Yep.
We got Sean Porter against Roberto Garcia. Mm-hmm. And then we have Andre Berto against Josecito Lopez.
Yes.
Those last two fights are on ESPN, but still, not ESPN, on Spike TV, which is the other side of Haymon's deal.
Yes.
But still, free TV. Man, if
ain't
that's
nothing better than free, dog.
Man, if the average fight is as good as anywhere in between those,
right,
everyone's winning, man. And boxing is going to be, boxing fans in the long run, be a bigger base, a lot more money in the game. And this is also the other thing, right? Once you're talking about $100 million paydays for one promotion, or the Haymon boxing people, all that stuff, right? We might see, I'm hoping, a little bit of a shift from some, again, lots of our big men are now in football and in basketball. But when they start seeing that type of money get thrown around, and we start seeing little men making $40, $50 million because they're able to build their persona on free TV, and then their marketing gets up, I'm hoping that there's going to be a shift. And then maybe, just maybe, there might be a resurgence of what used to be a mainstay of boxing. A big, good American heavyweights. I'm hoping for it, and it all starts with how they're going to market Deontay Wilder. He's going to be, mark my words, on some big NBC fight. One of those profile days is going to have him, and then depending on who they match him up with, Vladimir Klitschko would be it.
One question for you before we end the round. I know this is a bit of an ad-lib. Will Al Haymon be able to control his own pay-per-views based on this deal, or will they still only facilitate up to HBO and Showtime?
That is a brilliant question. I think one of those things that's going to get only answered with time, right? If you listen to some of the interviews that were happening with Steve Espinosa says that his relationship with Al Haymon is as good as ever.
Okay.
So if you believe that, if that's the case, then they could still use, the Showtime avenue. But maybe Haymon's like, I can make more money handling all of it on my own. Mm-hmm. Those are, but you got to talk about production, costs and all that stuff behind the scenes.
Right.
Frankly, I have no idea what goes on there.
Right.
And in this building year, I think he's going to take advantage of that infrastructure. And either way, I can guarantee you this: Haymon's going to find a way to come out on, in the black. He's not going to be going, his portfolio and his accounting is never going to the red.
Yes. So shout out to Al Haymon for doing the will of the people and getting his money at the same time. That's it for round 3. Let's get ready to go to the list when we run it in round 4. Let's
click down here.
should be played at high volume.